Welcome to another episode of Tanstwocents podcast. Today's episode is titled Matchmaking Sessions Waste of Time or Goldmine? We're going deep into the world of GovCon networking events that promises connections but often deliver confusion. I'm your host, Tanwilson, and with us today is my bestie, Stephanie Alexander, CEO and co founder of GovMates and Boost LLC, companies that don't just attend events, but they dominate them. And that is no understatement. Stephanie, thanks for joining us here today and say hello to our listeners, the Intellectuals, and tell them a little bit about yourself and your companies.
Well, thank you for having me and for the kind words. Those are the kindest I think you've ever been. So I know I'm up for something
Yeah,
good.
something's off.
So bring it. Exactly. So I'm Stephanie Alexander. I have more years in GovCon than I want to admit, which I think is every person. I feel like every year in GovCon is like seven. It's like dog years,
It's
right?
like
So
dog
for every
years.
year, it's like seven. It's how it feels. Let me tell you. So, and I always tell people, you're never a little girl growing up saying, "Oh, I really want to get into federal contracting." But when you live in the DMV area, that's kind of one of the biggest industries around, and that's what we do. So I fell into it in early 2000s and have been here ever since, and now I just can't get out. I can't get out.
Yeah,
So
what's
I
that what's
started.
that movie they keep pulling me back in?
They do. And I feel like I'm freaking worthless outside of this industry because I'm like, oh my God, this is all I know. We speak in acronyms. We talk about weird things. Like, we're like, who in their right mind would do this crap, like, for a living? And I'm like, the answer is me and you and everybody else listening to this podcast. So here we are. Congratulate yourself or, rethink all of your life decisions. So my companies are, I have two, which means that I'm doubly crazy,
Hmm.
and going in and out of constant emails and flipping between both. They're both GovCon related because I'm too lazy to learn new people and new things, so industry specific. Boost really focuses on your G&A. So all the things that you're talking about from a corporate support perspective, notably the accounting side, contracts, pricing as it pertains to proposals, HR, recruiting, hiring, firing your people, that sort of thing. We most notably do not do proposals. We do not do business development or capture. And I can't spell IT, much less solve your freaking IT problems. So yeah, that's us. On the GovMate side, which is more applicable for this conversation, we are a matchmaking platform. I have a co-founder, my work wife, Katie, who we started the company. Oh, I feel it is 10 years now, so 2015, which is kind of impossible to believe. And we started honestly just trying to solve a problem. And what it was we were working for a veteran organization as volunteers, and people kept coming up to us and saying, I need an STB OSB that does blah, right? And we eventually were like, we got to develop a system. So we actually started a million years ago on an Excel sheet and would take people's capability and their past performance and what they were doing and the NAICS codes that they were competing against. And eventually, it was totally just something we did on the weekends. It was a passion project. Eventually, we were like, technology. And so we invested in our own software developers and came up with our unique platform called the GovMates platform. And that, my friend, is how we got into the biz and how I can talk to you about matchmaking.
Yes, and everyone who knows me that I have a love-hate relationship with matchmaking. So this shall be a very, very interesting conversation. For those intellectuals out there who are jaded, maybe Stephanie can convince you differently here on this conversation. So winning goals. But seriously, and this whole conversation is probably not going to be very serious at all throughout this because when the two of you and I are together, it's all hell on wheels. But before we dig in to the world of matchmaking madness, as I like to call it, I do have a funny question to ask you. But if you are stranded at a random airport for 12 hours with no Wi-Fi, no laptop, and only one carry-on item to keep you entertained. And okay, this scenario could be real life. Okay, this is actually real life scenario for me. What's in your bag and how would you
Somebody
survive
please
that
tell
layover?
me more and get the planes back working. Just note to self, if you're listening, somebody give the FAA their money back. We need more tower control people. Yes, this absolutely can happen. Pretty much anytime you're traveling during the summer. I think on real answer is I would get the hell out of the airport and go like see something or do something and like go eat whatever you're supposed to eat there or something like that. Because I'm motivated by food, and or seeing something. In reality, though, if you told me I had to stay in the airport and I only had one thing, I probably would go with, as much as noise canceling headphones sound like they'd be great, I probably would go with a really engrossing historical fiction-y type book. Something that got me out of the day-to-day life and got me inside my head to ignore my probably one of the worst things that ever happens is just sitting there waiting at an airport, especially without Wi-Fi. I know that's a boring answer, but that's the answer. I probably would
No,
just like the ball and like want to die and just read my book. So yeah, I have
no,
zero patience
exactly.
for flight delays and traffic. So these are my two like main things where I'm just like,
And I think this is where you and I are the same, is that we're both big foodies. So I would find the most interesting restaurant or place to like go eat whatever, sit and watch people and drink for like my entire layover. So I always say that I'm going to work, but I always end up like having conversations because I find airports so incredibly interesting and the people who are there are so interesting.
I love the people watching for sure. But I also love when you're at the random thing and you experience like the good food that people are
Yep,
known for in that area, or if you can get out and Uber and like go see a thing and then come back, right? Like why not? Like so. So yeah,
exactly. All right,
take me
there
to
we got it.
like during the summer. I'll die.
Trust me, I got real life war stories that we can share with the intellectuals here later. But let's just dive into our first segment here, which is matchmaking real talk, setting the stage. I am truly skeptical when it comes to it. And I think you may be right. Maybe I haven't gone through like the right matchmaking experience. But for me, I feel that most of these sessions make me feel like speed dating with name tags and like zero follow ups. I get like totally ghosted. So, what gives, right? Like, talk to me about matchmaking and like how do you do it right?
Okay. So for perspective, there's different types of matchmaking, right? So take a step back. There's matchmaking by an agent, only that agency, and they want people to come in, small businesses, right? Usually these are the SPLOs. Half of them, probably not a lot of follow up, right? Especially if you just kind of got, you're in line, it's cattle call. It's like, oh, look, you do business. Oh, look, I'm an agency. And that's about all you have in common, right? The other half are know their stuff and know their program managers. And so if you have something that is compelling and hits on what they're looking for, they will be able to at least guide you to the next step. The entire purpose of this is just to get to the next step, right? Like nothing is going to change your life or your business in that business, or in that agency matchmaking. The government's doing less of these, I think, these days. They don't have the budgets, right? They're cutting the SPLOs. So we'll see if those are still going to be around in this next year or two. Then you have industry matchmaking. And this is generally found in conferences, and kind of like one-off, one-day workshops, those types of stuff. Those usually have industry to industry, but occasionally we'll also bring in the gummies, as well. And here's where I'm giving out secrets. Here's where it goes sideways. Nobody wants to do the freaking matchmaking. It's a pain in the ass. It is hard. Everybody's whiny. Everybody wants something. Everybody thinks that they're like the most amazing company that does nothing, that does what everybody else does, right? There's no differentiating factor between any of you people. And then you're just like, okay, I do cybersecurity or I do AI and I do machine
Right.
learning, right? Like everybody does that now, right? And so what happens here is they don't spend a lot of conference organizer, and it's not because they don't want to, but generally it's because of budget and because of time. They will shove like, okay, you know what, small business, you tell us who you would like to meet with. And every small
Mm,
business is like, I would like to meet with
right.
this with the
Yeah.
system integrator whose name my mom would recognize, right? Giving no thought whatsoever to whether or not that SI or mid large tier business does or needs what you do, giving no thought whatsoever to your business model, giving no thought to wrap rates and what pricing might look like, giving no thought to what their customer footprint is. Instead, small businesses are like, oh, I've heard of this company and therefore I want to meet with them,
Hmm.
right? No real thought on how there's going to be revenue and why it won't be a complete waste of your time. So when you allow people, the sellers in matchmaking speak, otherwise known as small businesses, to just choose whoever they want, you're not going to get a lot of really great turnout because
No.
people do the work, right? They're just like, oh, I know that company. I want to meet with them. Okay. If you
Why?
do it, but if you do matchmaking also based on NAICS code, right? Like there's a bajillion NAICS codes. Nobody cares, right? Like it's so vague and so broad that you can't really get a good like connection there, right? Like you can professional services, like bajillion things in there, right? IT standard. So where I think matchmaking is done well, and I will say that we do it well at GovMates, is because we take a buyer approach. And what do I
Okay.
mean by that? So in matchmaking speak, the buyer is either the government or the large integrator or the mid-tier, large tier, right? These are the people who have the money. Whoever has the money
Hmm.
drives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just simple, right? Like whoever has the ability to let the contract or is priming the contract and can control the capture strategy, all the things, right? Is actually putting together the proposal. Those are the people that drive. So we at GovMates, we don't try to make the small businesses happy. We believe in taking what the buyers want, right? And making the buyers happy. And if we make the buyers happy, they're going to have better conversations
Conversations.
with
Yeah.
what they're going to do. And this is what we do when we do matchmaking is give me your top like 3 to 5 things. Tell me what you're looking for, right? Some of these large guys, they're pipelining for 5 years out. They're pipelining
Hmm.
for the next G5. They're pipelining for next year, right? Or they're heads down and capture and they're like, oh crap, our favorite, fill in the box just fell through. So these people, they come to us and they have either very specific needs. I mean, sometimes so specific that you're like, "Ooh, I'm not sure I got that," or very broad needs depending on what they're looking for. We take those requirements and then we compare them to the sellers who are participating in matchmaking. And we will only match people if they actually, I know this is a foreign concept, if they only actually have what the buyer is looking for. Right then and there, the buyer is actually looking for something. The seller has it. What are the odds that this will be a better conversation? What are the
Stuff much
odds that
better.
this
Yeah.
versus like, oh, let me just sign up for somebody because I know of them.
Yeah.
How about so when buyer driven and requirement driven, then you're not wasting your time, small business, because I could tell you that you would make just as many connections networking outside the networking room than you would taking that precious, matchmaking opportunity if they're not buying what you're selling, if they don't need it.
That's fair.
You're just
That's
wasting your
fair.
time. You walk away
And
and you're like, what the heck?
that makes so much more sense. And it
It's
kind of
driven by the buyer.
yeah, it kind of reminds me, when I used to run political campaigns, and I don't know, you don't know this about me, but in my early 30s, I ran campaigns. And in politics, it's all about the voter. It's not about the candidate. And it seems kind of, counterintuitive or, what you think, but the really, really good electable candidates, the candidates that are really successful, are those that focus on the voter, what the voter wants, what the voter needs. They're going to be more successful. So I think that's kind of a really good analogy for how to make matchmaking successful.
Start with things that people actually need and want, and then have those things that people actually need and want. And then there's a whole bunch more that goes to it to make it successful. But at least if you start on the same common ground, you
Yeah.
have a much higher probability of having a successful match and not
Yeah.
wasting 12 to 15 minutes of your time and not being part of the herding of the cats, for lack of
Yeah. Fair enough.